In this video here, I'm going to share with you 15 social media marketing tips that you can immediately apply to your brand that cost you zero money and that will immediately start getting you better results. I've pulled out these tips and organized them from my own experience driving hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales for my clothing brand, all through my social media marketing strategy. So literally all that you have to do is sit back, relax, get on a notepad, and each of these is just going to get better and better until the end. I really hope you enjoy. Here it is. Before we get into these juicy tips here, Apparel Success is sponsored by my buds over at BrandCrowd. BrandCrowd's a logo maker tool. You type in the name of the logo that you want, smack that enter button. Thousands of logos will come up. You choose a logo that you like. You can edit and refine that logo as long as you want for free until it's perfect. This is a hundo P design I made for my own clothing brand using BrandCrowd. If you're interested, head over to brandcrowd.com/apparel success and you can get up to 66% off at checkout. All right, the first tip for growing your brand on social media is that you need to be able to hold attention as long as you possibly can. The number one thing that these algorithms are going to be digesting about your video to decide whether they want to show it to more people to get more reach is your average view duration on YouTube, your watch time, like the overall watch time of the video, and your audience retention. So basically, are people watching your video till the end? So priority number one by far is you need to be able to hold people's attention. And the second priority is shareability and your engagement. Are people sharing it? Is it getting a lot of likes? And are you getting a lot of comments? But this is how these algorithms are determining whether they want to show it to more people, whether it's worth showing to more people, or whether they'll just kill it and your videos won't get very many views. This leads perfectly into the second tip, which is the best way to hold attention inside of your videos is to offer valuable, relevant content. And there are three main types of content that I want to share with you here to think about this that has the potential to go viral for you and to get a lot of reach. The three types of content are: number one, relatable. Think about all of the content that you share with your friends. Almost all of it is just ridiculously relatable. It's things that you can joke about and that you can relate with. The second type is educational, things where people are learning something about it. And the third type, which you don't have to do but is really, really effective, is controversial. Even saying that controversial content is highly valuable is controversial in and of itself because a lot of brand owners just simply don't want to do it, but it is highly effective and it is a strategy that you can take. But the more relevant the content is, the more likely it is that you're going to hold people's attention. I mean, look at this video here. I'm making content that is extremely relevant for brand owners to be able to grow their brands on social media, and that's the only reason why you're watching. If it wasn't relevant, you'd probably have clicked off and watched something else by now. The third tip is to please set up your Facebook ads pixel and your TikTok ads pixel as early as you possibly can, and link your Facebook page, your Instagram page to your Facebook ads account, and link your TikTok account to your TikTok ads account. Because all of this data that you're accumulating from all of your organic growth, if you're growing on social media, you're making posts, you're getting a lot of views, all of this data can be used to retarget these people later if you do eventually want to come out with ads and start running some ads to them. And if you're just posting on social media and you don't have all this set up, you're wasting a lot of very, very valuable data that you could be using in the future to retarget these people with ads. So if you haven't already, just take a day and set all of that up, because you're going to thank me later when 6 months from now, you've got all of this data that you can now use to retarget people with ads and just have way more profitable ads. The fourth tip is all about how to use hashtags inside of your short form content. Whether you're posting on TikTok, Instagram Reels, or YouTube Shorts, your hashtags are going to be huge in helping with the SEO, the search engine optimization, and helping these social media platforms know what the hell your content's even about and knowing who to show the content to, especially if inside the content, it's not really obvious who it's for. Adding relevant hashtags will help you get reached like crazy. A super simple way to think about this for your brand is you want to be adding around 5 to 10 hashtags inside of every post. And if you're doing, say, 10 hashtags, then half of them should be kind of more broad and the other half can be a little bit more specific. So for example, for my clothing brand, it's all about rural Canada and Canada here. And so some of the broad hashtags might be hashtag Canada, hashtag Canadian. But the more specific hashtags, if it's a video about Canadian winter, might be hashtag Canadian winter or hashtag Canadian winter problems, just to make it a little bit more specific, and that's worked really well for me. Tip number 5 is to download and use the app SaveTik on your phone. What SaveTik allows you to do is, if I'm creating a video inside of TikTok, I can post the video inside TikTok. And you know when you download the video inside of TikTok, it like comes with the TikTok watermark? Well, if you use SaveTik, you copy the link and you post it in there, you can download your TikTok videos without the watermark. So I download a lot of my TikTok videos without the watermark using this app SaveTik, and I post them on Instagram Reels, I post them on YouTube Shorts, and I use them elsewhere without that TikTok watermark on it. The sixth tip is that if you're shooting any long form content for your brand and you want to chop it up really easily for TikTok, Instagram Reels, and for the short form content, you can use an app online that's completely free for the first hour worth of content called Opus. I'm not being paid to share them. I swear on my mom's life. I feel like I'm at recess trying to explain that. But basically, you can copy the link of your YouTube video, like the long form video, paste it into Opus, and it'll immediately create 10 short clips out of that long form content for you that you can just download and use on TikTok, use on Instagram Reels. It saved me so much time, I can't even put it into words really. The seventh tip is to post between 80 to 90% value content. This means content that has absolutely zero call to action. And the remaining 10 to 20% can be conversion content, things where maybe you're mentioning a product or you're trying to sell a product. But I think that for the most part, people underestimate the power of top of the funnel content that absolutely has zero call to action. You're not trying to sell anything. And that's the whole purpose of top of the funnel, is that the content needs to get out there. You need to get in front of a lot of eyeballs, and you can't be doing that if the whole vibe is trying to take from people. All of your top of the funnel content should be a giving vibe purely, and that should be 80 to 90% of all of the content that you're posting on social media. All right, this next tip, number 8, is probably one of my favorites. Focus on creating content that takes a low effort out of you, that produces high value. What a lot of people do is they invest too much into the production value, and at a certain point, it has really diminishing returns, especially in the short form content. If you're going out and you're spending 8 hours shooting one TikTok video and that video gets like 200 views, there's just diminishing returns there. It's not really worth your time to be doing that. And instead, you want to be thinking about ideas that literally you can just bang out kind of quickly, but that just have a high value to your audience. They're highly relevant, they're really funny, and honestly, it's even more valuable than the high production value content. Okay, I know I said the 8's really good, but 9's really good too. The 9th tip that I have for you is to batch your content. Now, this isn't something that you have to do, this just works really well for me, but I want to explain this to you. I find that it's way easier to bang out 10 videos in one day than it is to constantly shoot new videos for social media every single day and do it like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, like all the time. Because you never know what's going to come up in your day. You never know when you're going to be stressed out. You just don't feel like doing it. And I also find that I do it every single Monday. I'll shoot like 14 to 21 TikTok videos in one day. And that way I literally don't need to think about it the rest of the week. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday are all just free for me to work on other things, and I don't have to think about creating content. So batching your content in one day can be absolutely way more efficient for you. And a little bonus here is that when you are doing this and you're shooting it all in one day, you actually gain this like creative momentum as you're doing it. Like sometimes I'll shoot 3 apparel success videos in one day because like, look at me right now. After I shoot this video, my brain is like ready to go. I'm ready to shoot another one like right after this. I've already got, everything's flowing. So just to turn on the camera and shoot another one is super easy for me. If I have to like kill the engines and the next day fire it up again, it's like way harder to do that. So that's just a great tip. The 10th tip that I have for you, and these just keep getting better, don't they? Is you're probably overthinking your short form content on social media. Social media has really changed and people are valuing realness a whole lot more these days. It's really counterintuitive, but oftentimes the highly curated content kind of sucks. And all of the content where you just like hop on camera and make it off the cuff comes across as a lot more real. People connect with it a lot better and it just performs a whole lot better. So don't overthink the content that you're creating for your brand. Whatever your concept is, just get in front of the camera, just shoot something that you think is cool, you think is funny, and post it. A really nice way to simplify this in your head is it's the difference between expression versus impression. When you're creating content where you're just expressing, it tends to do a lot better than content where you're trying to impress people. The 11th tip for your brand is that you need to be posting frequently and consistently enough on social media to actually move the needle forward for your brand. I think that most brands just don't post nearly enough. They don't understand that one post a day now on TikTok or on Instagram Reels just probably isn't enough to truly move the needle forward for their brand in the way that they're expecting. Like, you need to be able to post enough that will reasonably allow your brand to grow on social media. I hate to say this because obviously I'm challenging you to work a little bit harder, but imagine the difference between posting once a day on TikTok versus 6 times a day on TikTok. In one day, posting 6 times a day, you can gain the same progress that you'd get otherwise in 6 days. So you're really making up a lot of ground and you're growing things a lot faster if you're posting more frequently. And I just think that a lot of people expect to grow a lot faster than what their efforts are actually deserving of. Deserving? I think it's deserving of. The 12th tip, and this one's nice and juicy for you, is that you want to find what's working and then repeat it. Eventually, you're going to lock into a formula for your brand. That is the best case scenario. At the beginning, sure, you want to be posting all these different types of content to see what's working, to see what sticks. But once something starts sticking, you kind of want to lock into that formula and keep repeating it until it stops working. And this doesn't mean to post the exact same content over and over again, obviously, but it just means to take that structure and kind of make it your brand formula, make it what it is about your brand that's working. And doing this will just make your content way more efficient. It'll make it perform a whole lot better rather than just guessing every single time you're posting. The Friday the 13th tip that I have for you is that you don't always want to just consume content on social media recreationally. I know it's easy to get hooked on Instagram Reels where you're just ripping through it and you're laughing at all these different videos, but sometimes it's really good to literally just like scroll through TikTok or scroll through Instagram as like a scientist, where you're looking and you're saying, okay, I just laughed at that video and I just shared it with a friend, but why does this video have 700,000 likes? Like, what was it about it that worked? And how can I do this for my own brand? Switching that lens from always just kind of doing it like an addiction where you're just consuming for the sake of consuming, rather than actually like learning from these people that you're watching that have hundreds of thousands of likes and followers, it's probably a good idea to view it as a scientist. Take screenshots, screen record, save these ideas and use them as case studies because you can learn so much from these people. The 14th tip here, we're going dark, is that I think most brands highly underestimate how difficult it is to grow on social media these days. They don't understand that it's extremely competitive and it's a free market on social media, and everybody that's posting is trying to steal the attention that you're trying to get for your posts for their own brand. And so I think that brands that take social media kind of lightly don't usually end up competing very well in this space. You almost have to view social media as like a sport where you're competing with other people. You're trying to get more attention on your brand than they are because we're all competing for that same attention online. And so if you're serious about this and you really want to grow your brand on social media, you really have to commit to it and take it pretty seriously. The 15th tip is that social media is an incredible opportunity for you to overcome your fears of what other people think of you. It may not seem like it because I'm such a polished speaker now, but it took me a really long time to get this comfortable on camera, where I can come on here, just share these ideas with you, purely giving and offering the value that I have to offer without being self-conscious about it and without getting like super worried about what people will think of me. And it was just an amazing journey to do that. So for your brand, get in front of the camera and slowly expose yourself to this feeling of not really caring about what other people think of you. I know that it's a huge fear that a lot of brand owners have, but you can do it slowly and you can do it over time. And the more authentic that you get with it, the more power you'll have with your brand and the more it will crush for you. I hope those 15 tips were absolute bangers for you. And if you're running a brand right now, check out the Apparel Success Mastermind. I host an exclusive live stream every month. There are tons of other clothing brands in there, all supporting each other and answering each other's questions, and you get access to all of my courses. You can learn about everything that's inside at apparelsuccessmastermind.com, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.